Is it recording?
Now it is.
Cool.
Wow.
It's episode 9.
No.
No?
No.
Episode 13. We just skipped a couple.
Episode 8.5. 9 3/4.
Beautiful.
Do you know how long it took me to remember?
I saw
Like
the
that
fear in
brief
your
second
eyes.
where I could not remember the Harry Potter theme and I felt like a fake fan. Whoa. Surprise, for this whole episode I'm talking about nothing but Harry Potter fan theories, so strap in.
That's not true, right?
No, it's not true.
Aren't you doing a true crime?
Yeah, I'm doing a true crime and it's about this guy named Voldemort.
Oh, word.
What would you do if I did sit down, like,
And
one
analyzed
day
Voldemort.
and just like something completely left field? It's not related to the podcast at all. It's just some weird pop culture shit.
Do it. This is a weird.
It's our April Fool's Day episode.
He's just analyzing Harry Potter.
No, literally. Like, Draco Malfoy is a werewolf.
Don't stop. Keep going. I just want a water. One sip of water.
Don't stop. Keep going. I just want some water.
Go ahead.
I'm leaving this in.
The water.
No, you don't got it. It's just.
All of my water? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Back to your hole. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we recorded yesterday, so I don't know what to
Yeah.
bring up
Well, the police showed up at my house last night
for a noise complaint.
for a noise complaint. So
Yeah.
that alludes to how my night
It was
went.
only 10 o'clock.
It was literally 10 o'clock. Like, my neighbors are just awful.
That's
they have a
fun.
baby. But they
Yeah.
hit my car every day.
Yeah, they scrape paint, right?
Every day. Yes. Ma'am, I have not said anything about the fact that you literally hit my car every day. Shut up. It's 10 o'clock. But it's fine.
Yeah.
We didn't
It's
get
just
in
part
trouble.
of living in an apartment.
Yeah. But yeah, that happened after we recorded yesterday. What else happened after we recorded? We took ghost pictures
Before, yes. We went to Target after, right?
No. That was before.
Oh, gosh. Oh, it was before the ghost pictures,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Okay, that's why. I'm just remembering.
No, it was after the ghost pictures, but before recording.
Jeez, I already forgot.
Yeah.
I have a bad memory.
We got frappuccinos, which is why I had a frappuccino when we were recording yesterday.
Oh,
Yes.
yep, I remember now.
And then when we got home, we ate and drank and got a noise complaint. We talked. It was fun.
We just hung out.
Vibed. As family does.
Does.
Da-da-dee-da-dee-da-do-do.
No, he didn't have to come out here with the hamster dance.
You remember when I had a guinea pig?
Yes.
Grandpa, every year for my birthday, would get me a hamster-related birthday cards from that point on. So I still have some of them, but one specifically, it's bright pink, and the hamster has huge, unsettling, unfeeling, googly eyes. And you open it, and it plays the hamster dance. I was like, I don't know how to tell my grandpa that I don't have a hamster. Like,
It's close
crying.
enough.
Dude, that guinea pig was so fat in his last years of life. I overfed him so much.
Oh, no.
I used to leave my iPad playing cartoons when I would leave for school every day for my guinea pig. I was worried he would get bored.
Play the cartoons.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I propped up my iPad between his cage and the wall so that, like, I would set it to Netflix autoplay.
That's something.
I was a lot. I'm in high school, and I'd come home and take him out. I love you so much, I know you can barely walk. He waddled.
Oh, my gosh.
He was a very large man. I miss him every day. He lived so long, though.
That's good.
Yeah. He was cool. I guess.
He's all right.
He's all right. His name was Sebastian, for anyone who wanted to know, but it was not after the crab from The Little Mermaid. It was after Sebastian from Black Butler.
Weeb.
Weeb. This is what happens when the weebs grow up. Start a podcast.
Can we make a ghost podcast?
And
And sing the hamster dance on the ghost podcast. No, we don't need that. Get off TikTok.
It's better because I don't know any of the words.
Yeah, you just make the noises.
Fake noises. How are you feeling?
Good. I did my research for this morning.
You watched a BBC miniseries?
Yeah, for like 3 hours.
What time did you get up?
I woke up at 6,
We went to bed at 2.
and we got to get stuff done here in this house. We had
Yo.
schedules to stick to, which we didn't.
No, we
We
didn't.
just chit-chatted for 2 hours instead of starting to record.
Literally.
I got up at 6, but I was on my phone for the first
Oh.
part. So then I just kind of hung out till a time, and then was like, I'm going downstairs and I'm watching BBC.
BBC.
Yeah, and then I watched the whole miniseries this morning,
Dude.
and then did research before and after that. And it wasn't even the original thing I was supposed to research. It was something completely different. I just woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend 3 hours and do my research now. It was not, I think it's well done, but definitely not how you should do research for a podcast.
Yesterday, Erin, there's her name drop for the episode. Erin was asking us, after brunch, she was a little tipsy, but she was asking us how long it took us to research per, case.
I had no clue.
You had no clue, but now you have an answer for her.
3 hours for this one
Yeah.
specifically. I would say it's usually that or a little longer.
Really?
I don't know. I like to watch stuff, and I'll sit and watch
Yeah.
random stuff about it, and I won't include it because it's just not that important.
I guess because I do the same thing, but I don't classify that as my research time.
Yeah, that's fair. What the time I actually spent writing
That.
is less, but there's a lot of just shoot offs and
Yeah.
rabbit holes that kind of.
Because I'll put
Wouldn't.
on like videos and documentaries and stuff while I'm playing Stardew Valley or something.
Oh.
And it'll be on in the background and I'll be able to watch it obviously, but sitting down to actually compile it, that probably takes me about an hour.
Yeah, I would say the writing and organizing is a lot less of that time.
I don't know if you saw, I didn't put it on Snapchat because I didn't want you to see it. But what I do, I think I've explained it before, is I put on AirPods under
Your
my
headphones.
headset.
Yeah.
So what I had happening, it was a lot, even for me, was I had a documentary going on about this case, and then I also had BoJack Horseman playing. And so my computer screen was broken up into 4 segments. It was the documentary in the top right, the BoJack Horseman in the top left, a Google Doc open in the bottom left, and then in the bottom right was another article. So I was reading at the same time that I was watching 2 videos at the same time that I was typing, and my brain hates silence so much that I put on lo-fi beats in the background so that every moment of silence was a little beat.
I could never do
I
that.
couldn't do it. I got so I did it for 30 minutes and I got crazy overstimulated.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not how I roll.
I can't not be stimulated though. That was a little much for me, but usually what I would do is it was a lot because of BoJack Horseman, because I was trying to watch a show at the same time that I was trying to research. But usually I'll have research going at the same time as music.
Mhm.
I just hate myself. I just can't
I can
focus.
do music and research. I can never do a show because I get too sucked into shows.
Yeah.
I'll be playing with something a lot of the time.
Mhm.
If I'm watching something, I'm holding something and just
Yeah.
messing with it. But to my brain is usually like analyzing the show. Like, wait
Yeah.
a second, that reminds me of this episode from this thing. Like, it just takes too much brain space.
Recently, I've started playing Stardew Valley.
Yeah, I've played games and watched
Yeah.
shows. I can,
But
like,
it can
little
only
games.
be certain games.
Yeah, I couldn't play a story-driven
No.
game because then I'm too invested in that story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With Stardew Valley, it's I
Planned
told you this
crop.
morning. I opened up my notes app on my phone, and it was my grocery list for Stardew Valley. 32 artichokes, like
All of the artichokes.
all of the artichokes. I'm in
Ooh.
year 2.
I need to play more.
I just
My
got a
laptop
dinosaur
is
egg for the
broken.
first time.
Dinosaurs.
I love that game.
I love dinosaurs.
Second
No. We didn't need that. Wow. Are we ready to jump in? Or
Strap in. We can. Yeah, I'm down.
I think we.
Mine is wild today.
I'm excited. You
I-
said that earlier, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is
It
gonna be a
made
good
me
day.
really mad. It's one of those, like I said it earlier, but for the audience, it's a story like the system kind of failed her, and
Which are so aggravating.
they're really aggravating. I found this case through a TikTok. Actually, I wrote the user is You Can Call Me Patches, but she does a series, and the series is called Cases That Don't Sit Right With Me, and that's I heard
Uh-oh.
her minor description and went on a genuine Wikipedia tangent because I could not know what happened, and that's why I decided to do it for an episode. Do you know who Rebecca Zahau is?
No.
Okay, it's a lot. She was born March 15th of 1979. She was born in Phalam Chin State, which is a town in Chin Hills, northwestern Burma. So it was a lot of words. Her parents, I do not know I should have looked up the pronunciation. I'm a terrible person.
No, it's
Cao Hin Tang and Zung Tin Par. I believe that's how I'm saying it. If not, editing Mac is going to pop in right here and correct my pronunciation. She was raised Protestant, and she lived in Nepal, then Germany, before moving to the U.S. She has a
Okay.
few siblings, and her parents live currently in St. Joseph, Missouri. In 2002, she married a 36-year-old nursing student in Arizona. And in 2009, she was arrested for shoplifting $1,000 worth of jewelries from a Macy's.
Jeez, that
Yeah.
came out of nowhere.
She pled guilty, but in 2010, she began dating Jonah Shacknai while she was still married.
Okay.
Jonah Shacknai.
No, it's gonna be the whole episode.
He is the CEO. He was the CEO of Medicis Pharmaceutical. His position made him the 9th highest paid CEO in Arizona.
Okay.
So like he was well off.
Mm-hmm.
He had a son, Maxfield Aaron Shagnai, in 2005 with his second wife, Dina. She worked as I didn't know what this was, an ophthalmic technician. I don't know what that is.
Okay. I don't either.
Until she quit in December of 2010, and then 1 year later, her and her husband were officially divorced.
Okay.
So that's the background on her. But here's the story.
I'm ready.
So July 11th of 2011, Rebecca and her sister were at Jonah's mansion, or it's the Spreckles mansion in California, Colorado.
It was so much.
I just got whiplash. Coronado,
Not Colorado.
Coronado, California.
Okay.
He used it as like a summer estate,
Okay.
essentially. They were watching Rebecca and her sister, though, were watching his son, Max. At some point during the day, Max fell face first over the second floor banister. He suffered injuries to his spinal cord and his face, and his injuries with his face affected his heart rate and his breathing. Rebecca was in the bathroom when it happened, but she found Max right after. She called 911 because he wasn't breathing and he was completely unresponsive.
Oh, no.
He was taken to the children's hospital nearby, and he died 5 days later due to brain damage because he couldn't breathe because of his injuries. So he was brought to the hospital on July 11th, and he died July 16th. 10 days after he was pronounced dead, investigators said his death was an accident. They figured he somehow tripped. But the trauma doctor examined him before he died, and he told the police that he didn't believe the injuries made sense with cardiac arrest and brain swelling. He said that he thought Max suffocated before he fell. But that was never investigated further. But the day after his accident, Rebecca brought her sister back to the airport so that she could go to back to Missouri with her parents. When she was there, dropping off her sister, she was picking up Jonah's brother. Adam is his name. Adam.
He didn't do anything.
Okay. She picked up his brother Adam, who had just gotten back from Tennessee. So Rebecca, Jonah, and Adam ate dinner together with a friend that evening. But Jonah left. He went back to the hospital to be with Max because this is the day after he fell. So he's still alive. He went back to the hospital. They had a vigil at his bedside. And meanwhile, Rebecca and Adam, the brother, went back to the mansion. There were reports of loud music that night. But the next morning, July 13th, 3 days before Max is pronounced dead, Adam finds Rebecca's nude body hanging from the balcony. Yeah. Her wrists and her ankles are bound. Her hands are actually bound behind her back. And she was also gagged. She had a blue long sleeve shirt wrapped around her head, and the sleeves were tied and stuffed into her mouth.
Oh, my gosh.
And she was hanging from a noose. There was also tape residue on her legs. So Adam called 911 at 6 a.m., and he sent a text message to Jonah to tell him what happened. He then cut her body down before the police arrived.
Oh, no.
So medics tried to revive her. She was pronounced dead at the scene, and they started, forensic and toxicology testing as part of the autopsy. People obviously suspected foul play really early on. I mean, she was bound and gagged. They couldn't find any DNA on the scene, though, besides her and Adam's. And on September 2nd, 2 months later, the San Diego County Sheriff's Department formally announced her cause of death, which was obviously suicide.
Huh?
I literally wrote pause for thoughts in my notes.
Pause for thought.
Because it's obviously suicide.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
gagged.
She was tied, bound. Her hands were behind her back.
Uh-huh. And that's how you would...
Yeah. I mean, if I was to go, I would obviously strip
tie my
naked,
hands.
hog tie myself somehow, gag myself, and then
hang myself.
and then jump.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Oh my
gosh. It checks all the boxes.
Yeah,
it makes
does
complete
make me
sense to me. It was pronounced a suicide. So here are some of the evidence, because so obviously the accident, the incident itself, it garnered a lot of media attention. But what really makes this case is how it was handled after the fact. It's complete bullshit. Oh my God, it makes me so mad, Emily.
Oh, no.
Like, you're not even ready. So the evidence, let's review some of the evidence, right? Her autopsy showed 4 instances of head trauma.
Okay.
Because that's what you do when you're going to hang yourself.
Head trauma.
Head trauma. 4 instances of head trauma. The San Diego medical examiner said it was because obviously when she jumped, she hit her head on the way down.
4 times.
4 times. One of the people who was a witness here actually testified during Casey Anthony's thing, but he said it was a possibility that she suffered head trauma on the way down, but he said that he would have preferred to know what the body looked like before the wrist bindings were taken off, because the body was tampered with before the police got there.
Yeah.
So it's only what Adam said happened. A forensic consultant, though, not involved with the sheriff's department, doubted it. He said the chances of bumping your head onto the railing, going over the balcony, and hitting your head 4 times are crazy unlikely. Like, it just doesn't make sense, especially because of the position she would have went down in.
Yeah.
So, her family insisted that a second autopsy happen. They had her body exhumed so that they could have a second autopsy, and it was done by someone independent of the sheriff's department, a pathologist. His name is Dr. Cyril Wecht, W-E-C-H-T. He worked on cases including JFK and John Bonet.
Oh, okay.
This doctor said that the fractures in her throat were caused by manual strangulation, not suicidal hanging.
Oh.
And he also said he thought her death was a homicide. And that was like his official expert statement.
Ruling. Yeah.
Other inaccuracies were found during the sheriff's department's investigation. There was also evidence that she was sexually assaulted before her death, but they didn't comment on that.
Oh.
And her family had suspicions for why her hands and feet were bound. So the sheriff's explanation, the sheriff, they essentially wanted to prove that it was definitely possible that she could have done it. It didn't matter if she did it. They wanted to prove that it was possible, that it was physically possible that it could have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the sheriff's explanation was that there were other documentations of incidents throughout the country where people would tie their hands so that they couldn't change their mind. It made complete sense. They went as far as to have someone reenact a scenario to show that it was physically possible for her to do this. So the video included a woman, she wrapped a rope around her hands several times in front of her. She then slipped one hand out of the binding, placed her hands behind her back, rebound them, and tightened them.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's possible, and they wanted to show that it could be done.
Yeah, that's so...
Why?
But other experts are like, no.
She was strangled and assaulted, but it's a suicide. The other evidence, there was also a message painted on the door of the room leading to the balcony. According to her ex-husband, it said, "She saved him, can he save her?" Yeah.
What?
Officials declined to confirm it, though. And in media comments, the sheriff only opted to say that it wasn't a clear suicide note, but investigators took it as a sign of a suicide. She also, if this was a suicide note, she talked about herself in third person, which
is weird.
Her ex-husband also said it wasn't something that she would have written. The police also served Verizon and AT&T with search warrants so that they could get cell phone records. She had a Samsung Focus. So according to AT&T, from about 8 p.m. until 10 p.m., she was texting with her older sister. So not the one that was there. Her younger sister's name is Xena, Xena. Her older sister's name is Mary. But it was just confirming that the younger sister did make it back to Missouri safely.
Okay.
Because she had just flown out that morning. At 10:48 p.m., Rebecca got a text from Nina Romano. She is the twin sister of John's first wife.
Okay.
Which I know is a lot of hoops to jump through, but she wanted to stop by the house to talk about Max's accident. Rebecca did not answer. And then police checked her voicemail for a few hours later at 12:50 a.m. She was alive and listened to the message. But billing records don't show who left it. They don't know what it said. Police say it was about Max's condition getting worse. They didn't want to say who left the message, though. Mary, though, the sister, said that it was Jonah.
Jonah?
Yeah.
Left them at
the boyfriend.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of complicated family dynamics going on here.
So far, I'm following.
The message was deleted, though, which meant that the police and Rebecca's family never actually heard what it said Mary only knew it was Jonah because she was texting with her sister
Okay.
while it was happening. So this whole situation and the investigation, it got a lot of media criticism, obviously. On July 14th, the day after her supposed suicide, there was the sharpest one-day decline in the stock price of Medicis, his company, since February. The investigation also got international coverage. And in early September, after she was declared a suicide, a bunch of professional writers, including a true crime writer, Kathy Scott, they all expressed doubts. The ruling was described as an embarrassing public blunder.
Wow.
Because
That's when you
obviously,
write it. Yeah.
because obviously it was a suicide.
I hate this.
It gets worse. This isn't even half of it. Like, this is just the case after it happened. Stuff happened as recent as earlier last month.
Oh,
New stuff was happening with this case. It's so fucking frustrating. How is it a suicide?
What?
How? And the fact that their response is not to say, oh, this is why she would have bound her hands or whatever. It's to say, this is how it's physically possible, guys.
So it could have.
It could have happened.
We're not wrong. It could have happened.
And then every expert who was brought in outside of the sheriff's department all doubted it. All disagreed. One straight up said, this is not a suicidal strangulation. This is manual strangulation. This is a homicide. And no one listened. And a lot of people think it was a race thing because she's Asian and her families are of Asian descent.
Oh.
And, like, this is a straight, white, rich CEO's brother in California.
Yeah.
Like, but obviously everybody close to her all doubted it. Her younger sister insisted that she was murdered. Her former trainer also said she was happy, always smiling. There was never any sign of suicidal thoughts. Her family disputed it because they said that the way that the media, or the sheriff's department at least, was trying to portray her as this depressed person made no sense. They said she was typically happy and that she also, as a Christian, believed that suicide was wrong. So, like, that one's a little less definitive for me. Like, I don't view that as a piece of evidence that her religion says it's wrong, because that doesn't mean she as a person thought it was wrong.
Yeah.
But the characterizations of her
Just didn't fit.
It did not work. It didn't hold up. And especially, like, the other side of it was, okay, if she's not depressed, then she did it because she regretted the accident with Max, is the explanation. That Max got injured on her watch and is now sick in the hospital, so she wanted to kill herself. But at this point, Max wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Max didn't die until a few days later. They were still hoping for a recovery.
Yeah.
Sure, the last voicemail she supposedly listened to was saying that his condition was getting worse, but it just doesn't hold up. But the sheriff's response to all of the media outcry was that they laid the whole case out extensively to the family in Missouri, and that it was, quote, unfortunate that they couldn't accept the results.
I don't like that wording.
Right. You just sound like a bunch of assholes.
Mm-hmm.
So on September 7th, her family launched a website called justiceforrebecca.org. They wanted donations because they wanted to fund their own investigation into her death. The website says, quote, it was obvious that the sheriff's department had worked too hard to paint this picture of suicide, and they were not about to let Rebecca's family ruin it, is the end quote. The idea is that they didn't want Rebecca's family, like, raising a stink about it. So that.
What?
They continued to demand that the case be reopened, though. On September 20th of 2011, Jonah Shacknight, the boyfriend, wrote a letter to the California Attorney General, Kamala Harris, requesting that the state review the investigation. He himself didn't doubt the suicide finding, but he hoped a re-review would bring people closure.
Okay.
The chief assistant attorney general, though, Dane Gillette, replied the following day and said no.
Oh.
September 30th, family members appeared on NBC's Today, and they called for a completely independent investigation because they didn't trust the sheriff's office. This family has also appeared in a lot of places. They were on Dr. Phil, too, because this is obviously not a suicide. Like, it's just not.
So many people that work in the field.
And the question...
said not a suicide. And even writers that, like, just write on the topic a lot were able to say,
it's
I
embarrassing.
Disagree. Yeah.
So, Rebecca's family hired a Seattle attorney. Her name is Ann Bremner. She said that this would be the first case in the history of the world that a woman killed herself like this, and it was a ridiculous conclusion.
Wow.
Because, I mean, she's manually strangled, assaulted, bound and gagged herself, and somehow got 4 cases of head trauma on the way down. There's no other case like that in the world. Yeah. That just doesn't happen. Other statements from her, the attorney, imply that Jonah used his wealth and profile to influence the investigation. And then after she made statements that may imply that, Jonah's lawyer sent her a cease and desist letter.
Oh.
Yeah. It warned her that some of her statements were defamation and, quote, highly insensitive on a human level, and it was adding to the harsh and unkind glare of national media frenzy, is what they said. I just think it's ironic that it's highly insensitive on a human level. Because isn't influencing a case to get a false suicide highly insensitive on a human level? And this was also his girlfriend. Like, granted, his lawyer was the one who sent the cease and desist, so Jonah might have known. But
yeah, I just don't...
The wording was a little ironic. Jim Edwards, though, of BNET, said he probably wouldn't sue because he didn't want more publicity he didn't want more attention on the case. Yeah. And as a result, Rebecca's family was essentially, like, unchallenged in media, which only made them look more suspicious.
Yeah.
So Jonah hired a PR firm called Strick and Company to represent them the week after her death. His PR firm, in response to the media, they said they were hired to handle all the phone calls because he was getting a lot of questions from lawyers and all this stuff, and he needed to handle the funeral arrangements, and he needed time to grieve because his son had also just died.
Yeah.
But later they started talking to journalists and reporters who they, quote, thought made errors in the case reportings. So they weren't doing what they said they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
They said they were hired to funnel phone calls. So why are they going out and talking to journalists and saying, hey, your information is a little inaccurate?
Yeah, you're the phone call person.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I picked this story is because it's continuing. Like, literally last month, new rulings were made. Like, shit is happening. So the first thing, in 2018, there was a civil case. Okay. The family decided to sue Adam for wrongful death.
Oh, no.
Rest in peace, Adam. Her mother and her sister said the goal was not money. They literally just wanted to clear Rebecca's name, that she didn't kill herself, and they wanted the cause of death changed in the case to a homicide. Okay. Like, they weren't even necessarily seeking punishment for Adam.
Yeah, they just wanted her name cleared.
Yeah, they just wanted the world to know that their daughter was not this person.
Yeah.
So over a month-long trial, the jury heard a shit ton of competing evidence. They heard from medical examiners, not experts, like not KNOT, like people who tie knots.
Oh, okay.
Pathologists and sheriff's investigators. They also heard emotional stories from both families. Rebecca's sister told them how spiritual her sister was. She told them about her beliefs and how passionate she was for life. She also told them that she was talking on the phone with her sister a few hours before her death, and that there was nothing implying depression or suicidal ideation. She said, quote, She sounded tired, but other than that, she sounded like Rebecca. Like, she was worried about Max.
Yeah.
Because Max was a child who was injured in the hospital, but she said it was just like any other caregiver or parent would be, and that she wasn't distraught
over like what she did.
Right. She wasn't to the point of like hysterics, you know? So it's not like she did this on a whim. So because this was a civil trial, it didn't need to be a unanimous verdict, and the jury decided 9-3 that Adam was in some way responsible for Rebecca's death.
Okay.
The jury said that Adam battered Rebecca and that his actions caused her death, whether directly or indirectly. That the way they phrased it was that one of his touches, the way they phrased it was touch, which I thought was weird, but that he intended to cause her harm, and whether intentionally or unintentionally, his touch directly resulted in her death.
Okay.
So whether he strangled her, whether he pushed her, whatever. They awarded the family more than $5 million in damages.
Wow.
And as this was happening, Adam was actively fighting against the jury. He said he was innocent, but his insurance went behind his back and settled the claim with her family. He didn't face any criminal charges, though, because it was a civil case. He can't be sentenced to prison, and civil verdicts are often appealed. So after the case, the sheriff, Bill Gore, said he was surprised by the verdict. And he said if there was any new evidence, he would consider reopening the case.
After the civil case.
He's
put up a fight the whole time.
And asking for new evidence as if the evidence you don't already have
points that way.
Sir, she was strangled. She didn't do that to herself.
Yeah.
She didn't assault herself. Anyway, Rebecca's sister, Rebecca's older sister, Mary, her husband was a retired police detective, and he said that the sheriff's department keeps saying that they gave them everything in the case, but that was just a lie. He said that he learned that Adam's defense team were given more case files than them. Yeah. And they still lost. Like, you're given more information and you still lose because it's just so obvious.
Much the other way.
You were the only other person in the house with her. She was assaulted and strangled, and you cut down the body before they get there, and your DNA is all over the scene. Like, you just did it.
Yeah.
But he says the quote is that the court feels remiss if it does not state that the sheriff's investigation leaves almost as many unanswered questions as it answers. Because mostly one of the big things was the writing, like the words written on the wall that she saved him, can he save her? They said that evidence specifically was really jarring because Rebecca was a painter. And common sense alone said she didn't paint, like the amateur painting on the door. And it was obvious that someone else did. And also, like, the talking about herself in third person. Like, it was very obvious that Rebecca did not write that and did not paint the picture, whatever it was. They said determining who wrote the message would be the circumstantial evidence pointing to who killed her. And the quote is, "This was only one of numerous pieces of circumstantial evidence that puts the sheriff's conclusion into question. As a result, it is not unreasonable to still ask who killed Rebecca Zahau." So later that year, in 2018, Adam went on Dateline NBC and said that the system had failed him. He filed a motion to appeal the verdict, and he told the media that he was innocent and he was, quote, tired of throwing money at his legal defense. Which is just so ironic. The system failed me.
Yeah, no.
The system protected you for 7 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
Hiding evidence so that you looked innocent. I need to it's all alleged.
Yeah.
But is it, though?
It's kind of laid out, but it's alleged. We can't say.
We can't say that we know what happened. But don't we, though?
Can't we? Can we push it a little?
Anyway, later that year, the sheriff decided that they would not change the initial findings of the case. Her cause of death to this day is still suicide. And the Zahaus said that not reopening the case was, quote, improper and biased. So fast forward a little bit, 2019, the January 25th of 2019, which is Lucille's birthday. Side note.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. In response to the motion to have the jury, their motion was to have the jury's verdict set aside for lack of evidence, which is just ironic. Because is it though?
There's so much.
Is it though? Judge Catherine Bacall issued a tentative ruling against Adam that faulted the sheriff's department. So her ruling was like, yes, Adam did do something, but it's the sheriff's department's fault that he wasn't convicted.
Yeah.
Because they were hiding evidence. February of 2019, so a month later, he still maintained his innocence and told reporters that the Zahaus, quote, did this partially for money, but partially so that they did not have to show up in church and have people look at them and think their daughter committed suicide. That's Adam's statement. Is that
really?
The Zahaus obviously did this because it was a cash grab. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's...
They literally straight up said that they were not even fighting for money.
Or to get him in trouble. They just wanted the death cause changed.
That.
The cause of death.
And his insurance went behind his back to settle it. Like, the reason that they were awarded money was because of his legal insurance and his legal team. Because they wanted it to stop.
Yeah.
Like, but obviously they did it for money. Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously she killed herself.
Oh my gosh.
So, fast forward a little bit. 2020, last year, in March, the Zahaus sent a CPRA request to the sheriff's department. They wanted records reflecting correspondence between officers involved in the investigation. And, quote, all interdepartmental memorandums, detective notes, including detectives' binders and detectives' workbooks. That's what they wanted. They wanted all the detectives' information. 10 days later, the sheriff's department sent them a letter saying the requested documents were exempt from disclosure. Yep.
Wait.
In May, they sent another request seeking records, quote, reflecting why the sheriff's department did not try to get Adam's phone records.
Why was it one-sided?
Right. Why did they only get Rebecca's? And they also, side note, the sheriff's department did not try to get Adam's phone records at all. They got Rebecca's, and they also got Jonah's and Jonah's ex-wife's sister were the phone records they got. Her name is Nina.
Yeah.
But they got Jonah's, Nina's, and Rebecca's. Why Nina?
Yeah.
Why Jonah? Even. Because Jonah has an alibi. Like, it is just confirmed that Jonah did not leave the hospital that night, except he went once to go get food. But that was also confirmed. They knew where Jonah was the whole time, and the possibility was that he sent her one voicemail that they don't even know what it.
They don't even have.
They don't even know what it says. So why Jonah's phone records?
Maybe to like get the voicemail some kind of way, but that's like the only thing I get.
Right. And they still didn't get the voicemail.
Yeah. And like maybe just like covering their bases, but why not Adams in that case?
Exactly.
If you're just going to get random people involved just to see.
And Jonah's ex-wife's twin sister.
Yeah, not even the wife.
Right. Not even the ex-wife.
Didn't they have some messages?
It was one text message that Rebecca didn't answer. Was because the ex-wife's twin sister.
I think they did get Adams, but then he paid to cover it up.
Right.
Yeah, that's what probably happened.
But 2 weeks later, because they requested those records, they wanted to know why specifically they didn't get Adams. The department again said that the requested documents were exempt from disclosure. In July, because that was March, May, and now we're in July, Rebecca's mother and Rebecca's older sister and her husband, they sued the sheriff's department demanding the documents that they were denied, and also they were suing for attorney fees and costs because they should not have to keep suing you to get information that is public record.
Yeah.
And they sued under the basis of the California Public Records Act.
Okay.
So
they're doing their research.
it is a 144-page brief. It includes exhibits that alleges all materials were, quote, selectively chosen by the sheriff in order to persuade a, quote, very skeptical public that the suicide finding was proper. So that's their accusation, is you were intentionally leaving out certain documents or giving the other side certain documents because you were pushing for a suicide finding, is what they alleged. In spite of the existence of, quote, substantial evidence and facts given the appearance that Rebecca was murdered. So they said, to sum it up, in order to cover up analysis and opinions of investigating officers that were contrary to the findings of suicide. So what all that legal mumbo jumbo means is they are saying you cherry-picked evidence to paint Rebecca as having committed suicide in spite the fact that there was evidence that pointed to the fact that she wasn't.
Yeah, that they did.
Yeah, that they knew she wasn't, that they knew that she did not commit suicide because there was evidence that pointed to her not committing suicide, but that they were pushing a suicide story anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So the brief added that the sheriff is violating the policies of transparency and government underlying the CPRA and should not be condoned. So they were saying that the California Public Records Act, which is CPRA, was not being honored, and that they shouldn't be allowed to just say...
Just do that.
Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed to just refuse because there's a Public Records Act.
That's what it's for.
They also said that the court should decide it is improper for the sheriff to use the exemption privilege as, quote, a sword rather than a shield. So they were using it intentionally to cause damage.
Yeah.
Rather than using it to protect, like, sensitive information. Because, the exemption privilege is used to protect, like, children.
Other people, yeah.
Like, that, there's this privilege.
To protect civilians.
Yes. Because there is certain privileges that police have when it comes to investigations. They do not have to release certain information. Like, the best example is with cases involving children. Most of the time, those records are not made public.
They use fake names in the trial.
Yeah, and that's...
to keep a child from, like, getting too publicized.
Exactly. And if they do use a fake name, if they have to go the extra mile to use a fake name, it's usually because the case was really severe.
Yeah.
They don't just do that randomly.
And for somebody, they're not protecting somebody.
Yeah.
There's no person involved that they're...
Or they're protecting victims, not perpetrators.
Yeah. Right now, they're protecting Adam.
Exactly.
Who is a potential perpetrator.
Yeah, they're protecting some...
that makes sense.
They're abusing the power that they have.
Yeah.
Because this power should be used to protect victims.
Who else would they be protecting?
Exactly. I mean, Rebecca's dead. You're not protecting Rebecca.
Yeah, regardless of how you say it happens, the only person you could be protecting is Adam.
Because he's literally the only suspect.
He's the only one there. And they don't have an alibi of, like, he was doing something else in the house. Like, what else would this man be doing? Not hanging out with Rebecca, the only other person in the house? They're off doing their own thing?
You remember when in the beginning when I started this story and said this case is going to make you really mad?
Yeah, I've just been sitting here, like, not knowing what to say because I'm furious.
I'm fuming. Dude, reading this, it made me so mad. Like, I had to calm down for a second. I had to take a step back, pause my little documentary, and walk away. Just be like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Because this is, like, obviously, like, stuff like this happens all the time where...
The system fails you.
And also rich people get away with a whole lot of shit because they can just throw money at the investigations. But
it's like
this one,
punishable by fine is just pay to play.
That.
Life is pay to play for people who have money.
That. What a great way to say it. Wow.
Thank you.
so articulate.
No, I just played video games and got mad when people bought all the stuff I couldn't buy.
Pay to play.
Yeah.
But like this one specifically is just, I think the reason it's just so obvious. There's no other thing that this could be.
They didn't hide information that
Yeah.
they hid the wrong stuff. If they did hide
Yeah.
anything that was valuable.
It would have made more sense to say that someone broke into the house and killed her than it made sense to say that it was a suicide.
Yeah. But then they would have to investigate Adam that way. But to just write it off as a suicide, you don't investigate
Right.
anyone. You should, but they didn't.
They made themselves look really bad here.
Probably for money.
No, literally. There was also a news conference related to this lawsuit, and a guy, his name is Scott Rutter, was there. He is a crime scene restoration and evidence animation expert is his title. So apparently his findings show that if Rebecca had actually fallen the 9 feet and died, she would have been at least partially decapitated, if not fully. She did not jump because her head would have come off because of the force of falling 9 feet. That would have
On
cut
a rope. Yeah.
at least partially, if not completely. And there.
So she wasn't even cut down, is what he's saying. Like she wasn't even pushed off. She was strangled and then made look like she was cut down.
That's the allegation.
Yeah.
Or that she was lowered.
Oh, yeah.
Like something. If she was hanging at all, she did not jump.
Or even pushed. Like, that's not what killed her.
That. Because her head would have come off.
Oh, my gosh.
And it makes me so mad. It made me so mad.
That's...
Because he's an expert in this field. Like, his
That's
job
what he
is
does.
to recreate crime scenes and analyze them and show, like, what is physically possible and what isn't. And this is
It's
one
his
of the
whole
things
career.
that is not physically possible.
Ugh.
She also would have had very traumatic injuries to her body, like her neck and stiff, which did not exist. There was no visually dramatic injuries at all. Instead, there were signs of a struggle, signs of assault, and signs of strangulation. They don't have any evidence
That it could have been a suicide.
that it is just...
It's not possible.
It's physically possible
To tie your hands.
that you can tie your hands.
But
but
not to jump like that, I
No.
hate.
If she was hanging at all, she was tied and lowered.
Or they just cut a rope and, like, put her on the floor.
Right. Or they cut a rope, put it on the floor, and she wasn't even hanging in the first place. And that he just said they were. Because you gotta remember, he, quote, cut her down before the police got there.
Which is
The
tampering
police
with evidence.
did not even see her body hanging. They don't even know if that's true. So, the court judge has set an October hearing for this year. So the hearing, they were granted a hearing. It's happening in October, and they hope that this, their goal is, once again, it's not money. It's not even necessarily to, like, gain the records to an extent. They want the authorities to reopen the case, is their goal.
Wow.
They want this case to be reopened, re-examined, and, like, they just want their daughter to be cleared. And, like, they want people to investigate the evidence of a homicide rather than the headline-grabbing suicide that it was, advertised as.
World first, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so disturbing.
Yeah, their whole goal completely is to have the case reopened, and the sheriff's department and the county attorney representing the department, they declined to comment, and their defense for that is because there is a pending court case, they can't comment. They can't release any information. They can't make a statement because the court case is happening in this October. So, yeah. And that...
Well, I'm waiting for October now. I want to know what happens.
In March was when they were granted the hearing.
This March.
Yes, this past
2021.
March, 2
Okay.
months ago. They were told, you get your hearing, you have X amount of months to prepare. I'll hear what you have to say in March.
Okay.
Or in October,
Yeah,
sorry.
from March.
From March. So, yeah, that's what's happening. And I'm happy that they're getting another hearing.
Yeah.
Because the
They've already had to
civil
go through
case
so
said
many.
he did it. Like,
Or at least had something to do with it that wasn't
Right.
investigated.
and the judge even said that it was the fault of the sheriff's department. Like,
Already in a hearing.
Right. Like, they already won a wrongful death suit. Because that's what the one they won is. It's called a wrongful death lawsuit. They won. They just won. Like, a jury said that he was responsible for her death. And the sheriff's department's response to that was, yeah, but we'll leave her legal death as a suicide. If they had just changed it then, this lawsuit would not be happening.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they would have pushed for punishment. But, like, they know that he's a billionaire's brother. He's not going to get jail time.
He's not going to get the right punishment if he is punished.
Right, but even just this case was groundbreaking. Like, it was international news. Like, just to have her cause of death changed in public record, it would have been all over the news. Like, people would know at the very least, without a shadow of a doubt, that she did not kill herself.
And that's what they wanted.
And that's what they wanted.
That's where it would have ended.
They didn't want the $5 million. Like, they didn't want that. So
They used the $5 million to continue to try and get it.
And now they got their wrongful death suit, and now they're suing the sheriff's department. Because good.
Yes.
Because sue the fucking sheriff's department.
Because they were up to something.
Because the fact that this sheriff is still allowed to practice law, he needs to be fired.
Yeah, he was either covering up for someone for money, or he was just covering his tail because he was lazy.
Yeah.
Either way,
terrible investigation.
Either way, it was a bad investigation.
This whole thing is just, it makes me so mad. And just to revisit this case, I found it from a series called Cases That Don't Sit Right With Me.
Yeah, this one does a lot more than not sit right. I'm angry.
Right. Like, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And when I went down the Wikipedia tirade, like, I went on a whole, just for, like, personal investigation. Like, at that point, I didn't even know I was going to be doing it for an episode. I just was so mad that this was...
I just want something to, like, why?
Right.
Well, there's nothing pointing the other way. Like, you can be like, well, maybe it was. Nothing points that way anymore.
Nothing.
I was like, okay, maybe there was an incident earlier, but that led her
Right. Maybe it was guilt.
But now there's somebody recreated, and it's like, no,
It's
she
not
didn't have the
physically
injuries.
possible. It's not physically possible. Like, her body, she was not killed from suicidal strangulation. It was proven by experts. She was killed by manual strangulation. There were signs of sexual assault. Her body does not have the injuries that she would need to have a suicidal, like, it just doesn't hold up. And every expert that is not tied to the sheriff's department agrees.
Yeah. Did you find any, like, expert that agreed with the sheriff's department outside of him?
No. The only ones who are pushing for the suicide cause are like, the first autopsy was like, oh yeah, it was a suicidal strangulation, but that was internal. That was from the sheriff's department. The second autopsy, done independently, when they had her body exhumed, disagrees. The two autopsies disagree.
Ugh.
And one, like, it's the same body.
Yeah.
It
didn't change.
And it was only a few months in between. It wasn't like she was decaying. Like, this, I believe it was 2 months. 2 months. Her body was examined after death. Her death happened mid to late July. Her body was exhumed in September. So not even 2 months. Early September 2nd, I believe. Hold on, I'm scrolling. Her body was exhumed I didn't write it, but it was exhumed a few months later. I believe in September, because that was the date of, like, her body was exhumed right after she was classified as a suicide, and that happened September 2nd.
Okay.
So that, and then her parents were like, absolutely fucking not. Exhumed the body and had another autopsy done. Like, it's the same body with maybe a month in between. They should at the very least agree on what happened to the body.
Yeah, the the injuries.
Yeah.
The injuries should line up.
Right.
And if they're not, obviously something went. Y'all didn't have different bodies.
No.
Unless this is a huge conspiracy theory.
Unless the bodies were switched. Because the one from the sheriff's department said, oh, yeah, there are signs of head trauma, but it probably just happened on the way down. She killed herself. And then the other guy was like, no, it's definitely a homicide.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt,
And
this
have
is a
3 other
homicide.
dudes say the same thing.
Right.
And then every true crime writer out
And
there.
then the crime scene analysts, people who do this for a living to recreate crime scenes to see what is physically
it's
possible.
not. It can't happen.
It just can't happen. She was not hanging.
I'm watching this when it comes on TV.
I'm
sure the media will cover it.
I'm following the case.
Yeah.
Because, like, this...
We'll update you.
No, seriously. Things happened as early as last month. They were making statements to the media. Like I said, they're on TV all the time. Like, they went on Dr. Phil to talk about the wrong... Like, how this case was handled so poorly. And then October. Their hearing is set for October. They're going to plead their case. And I hope, beyond hope, that this case is reopened.
Yes.
For Rebecca's sake. Because that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It makes me physically ill.
Yeah, I'm shaking. Like,
No, like, literally. But yeah, that's Rebecca Zahau. The obvious suicide.
bleh.
Are you mad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did my job.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
That is. It's so aggravating to, like, sit here and be told that so many experts disagree. And the only people who don't are the people who very well likely could be covering it up for money.
Right. That's my other thing is it's not like a word of mouth thing. This isn't like, oh, her parents are disagreeing. Like, no, dude.
Experts. People who, that's their whole job.
Experts.
No other expert that we know of that we found or you found.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
You're good. No, you're good.
But
You're right.
nothing, you can't find anything else. That's so aggravating.
And it's also a thing, like, this is a case that's continuing. Like, the article I read this morning was from March 23rd of 2021. Like, information is still coming out. And that article that I read was the one with the crime scene recreation. Like, every article that is coming out is more and more information on just why it didn't happen
That's
this
why
way.
it's wrong.
Because they're building a case. Because this didn't happen.
Oh my gosh.
And it's crazy that every day they're making, like, they went as far as to get someone to say, is it even physically possible? And their answer was, no, it's not. Like, and what really gets me is, like, every statement that that Adam made or that the sheriff's department made is so ironic. Like, the sheriff saying, oh, the civil case, like, their verdict really surprised me. If more evidence appears, like, yeah, I'd reopen it. But then more evidence appears, and
Where's
still
the
hasn't
reopening?
reopening it. The fact that Adam said he was tired of throwing money at his legal team.
I mean, stop. We'll be all happy
Yeah,
that you stop having a
Go
legal
to
team.
prison, you psycho. The fact that he said that her parents obviously just did this for money, when the only time they're suing for money now. But they're suing for money because they want their attorney fees covered because they should not have had to sue in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, this should not have been classified as a suicide.
And they're trying to get the case open.
Oh, yeah, and they're trying to get the case reopened. Like,
Like,
that's
the
their
money isn't the
goal.
only goal.
The money is a second thought.
Yeah.
Is what it is. And they deserve
Because they've been
it.
doing this for years.
Like, I don't care
Throwing
how
money
much,
at a legal
Right.
thing they shouldn't have to.
I don't care how financially stable they are. They should not be paying for this. They should not have had to sue at all. Because this should never have been classified as a suicide.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where it happened or who it happened. Like, the judicial
Something
system.
went wrong.
Yeah. Dude, it makes me, Why? Why is this a free man when he assaulted somebody, killed her, and covered it up successfully for 10 years? This case happened in 2011. 10 years. He has been able to walk free, and he is still making these bold-ass statements of, no, they're doing it for money. Sir,
He doesn't even, like,
at the very least, shut up.
where's the alibi?
He's not even saying, like, obviously I'm innocent. He's saying they're doing it for money.
He's just pointing fingers.
That.
Which just makes you look guiltier.
At the very least, this man just needs to stop talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my story.
Wow. I was prepared to be mad, but not this bad.
Right.
I've heard like a lot of the ones where the system fails you. But there's some like this one that is just rough.
Because like a lot of them are like, a lot of the system failures also are
missed evidence.
Right.
Not
or you
covered
could
up.
see at the very least what they were trying to do.
Yeah, or how they misunderstood.
Like a good example of a system failure.
Or you can blame it on old technology.
That. A good example of a system failure is like the Gypsy Rose case. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I figured you would know, but
yeah.
For those of you who don't know, it was like a mother, Munchausen's by proxy is what it's called, where she pretended her daughter was sick to get money, essentially, and by that equivalent, or by that logic, she was making her daughter sick by force feeding her medicines and stuff that she didn't actually need. She had a stomach tube inserted, like it was a whole 9 yards, and the girl eventually killed her mom. And now Gypsy Rose is in prison. But the system failed her. How many doctors did they go to?
That could have said something.
Like, fucking CPS was called at points too, weren't they? Like, that one though, at least it makes a little sense. Like, she was a kid, and it was, at some ages, your mom has to make the decisions for you in a hospital room.
Yeah. She
This
wasn't in control of her own medical stuff.
Right. Yeah, like the system failed her. It did. Someone should have seen what was happening. But it makes sense, at least a little bit, that they didn't. This makes no sense.
Yeah. I don't see how you could just not investigate even a little bit the only person home.
If he wasn't loaded, this case would not have ended this way.
Yeah.
And that's eat the rich is the consensus for Rebecca Zahau. Keep up with the case. In October, once the hearing happens, it'll probably last a little while, but I'll try to remember to revisit it so that we can at least keep up, so that there's an ending to this story, but it won't happen until October.
Yeah.
So either the case will be reopened or we'll have to wait another few months for another lawsuit.
Wow.
Yeah. Sucks, doesn't it?
I don't even know what to say. Do we need an intermission to cool off?
Adam, do you need an intermission?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
And intermission. Go to justiceforrebecca.org in this time.
Please.
And we're back.
Hi. Welcome back.
Buongiorno, croissant.
I have
What have you got?
Conspiracy for you today.
Is it an actual conspiracy?
Kind of. It's a conspiracy about a conspiracy theorist.
What the fuck?
And so I'm not talking about his conspiracy theories. I'm talking a conspiracy theory about the conspiracy theorist.
This is meta.
Yeah, but that I don't want it to get confused because he is popular for some of his conspiracy theories involving certain stuff that we'll go a little bit into it.
Okay.
But I want a disclaimer. I'm not going in. He has a lot of conspiracy theories, and they're very scientific, hard to understand, quantum physics kind of stuff.
Oh shit.
So we might delve into it another time because they're cool conspiracy theories, but they would not all fit on just one thing.
Oh
but
shit.
He's got some interesting stuff theorized about him.
Okay.
His name is Max Spiers. His full name is Maxwell Bates-Spiers, but we'll just call him Max.
He sounds familiar.
You might know. He's been on the news kind of recently, 2017, 2018. Like I said, there's a BBC short story.
There's a mini series about this man
that I watched all of this morning. It's a good series.
So it's fresh.
Yeah, kind of. He was a journalist and, like I said, a conspiracy theorist, and he also delved into paranormal issues. So I was like, oh, he's like us. He's weird. He's like a conspiracy theory
He's
guy.
what happens when the weeaboos grow up.
He just didn't make a podcast.
Oh, and that's where he messed up.
That's what did him in.
If he had made a podcast, he probably would have been a lot better.
Yeah. he had been into this stuff since he was very little. So again, I was like, oh, I relate to this guy. But there was a cool note from when he was 5 that he wrote about aliens and UFOs.
Oh, shit.
And he's known in a lot of UFO circles too for like saying the government hides UFOs and stuff like that.
Well, they do.
So it traces back all the way to when he was like 5. They have notes that this kid drew.
Which is kind of crazy.
That's so he's like been obsessed with this stuff since he was very little.
And he's always known it was the government's fault.
And he just knew.
Good
He
for
was
him.
just- yeah, he got on his
Start him
game.
young.
He like I said though, we're not going into his theories.
Right.
We're going into him.
The theories about him.
He allegedly had a lot of out-of-body experiences. Okay, so we'll go into them a little bit later, but you kind of got to know it.
Yeah.
Growing up, and to him, this was proof that he was genetically modified into a super soldier as a fetus, and he claimed he had like supernatural powers because of this. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
We'll go into it a little later, but just laying it on the table.
I'm a genetically modified super soldier.
Imagine just walking into a room, full confidence, looking someone dead in the eyes and being like, as a fetus, they genetically modified me. I am a super soldier. I am here for a reason.
That is your like, introduce yourself to the class, give your name, your major, and an interesting fact about you. Hi, I'm a
Max
genetically
Bates.
modified super soldier.
It's a lot. That's how I want to introduce myself from now on.
And I'm a kinesiology major. Or like something.
Some
I'm a
random.
business major.
I'm an arts major.
An arts major with a focus in painting.
He believed that he was genetically modified into the super soldier to fight in other dimensions.
Oh.
Again.
It just gets better.
Oh, trust me. It's a lot. It's a good one. He believed that some frequencies from static or TVs, like that electric buzz we were talking about last episode that we said drove us crazy, that it would activate his powers in a way. There was also like words that would activate it. Like people knew
it's like
how to
some
control
hypnotism
him.
shit, yeah.
Yeah. He was known online as a conspiracy theorist. Like he's pretty popular, but some people questioned his credibility due to lack of proof
Okay.
of like superhuman abilities. But he said his abilities were like more dimensional rather than physical. Like not super strength, but could like fight in other dimensions kind of thing.
Oh, so still whack.
Still
but
super soldier, but not like I have laser eyes. Like some more deep.
it's not Superman.
Yeah. It's not superhero-esque. It's the word. It's still. I think he even said, there's like online you can watch his like lectures and stuff. Not all of them. Some of them are secret. But
Some of them are secret.
we'll get into it. We'll get it.
Secret lectures.
Yeah. So, but like he didn't like the term super soldier, but that's just the easiest way for me to convey that to you. I don't know what else to describe them as.
Right.
But yeah, he even used the word. He just said he didn't like the term because it makes you think superhero.
Right.
But it's kind of a plot twist. In 2016, conspiracy theorists became really interested in Max when he dies in Warsaw, Poland. He did live in the UK in Canterbury, 1,000 miles away from his home, and at the age of 39. Just dies on a sofa.
Wait.
Yeah.
In Poland?
In Poland, Warsaw, Poland. He lived in Canterbury, in the UK.
Why was he in Poland?
There's a couple theories why he was in
So
Poland.
he just died randomly and far away from his home. Like that's
he was over there. There was a conference over there, and he did attend this conference,
Oh,
and he
okay.
did lecture at this conference. But there's
So it
other
wasn't-
theories as to how and why he got there in the first place.
my brain said teleportation at first was what happened, and I was like, oh no, don't look at me like that.
There was some. I didn't write it down, but there are hours upon hours of content of different conspiracy theories about this guy. This is one of the ones where you just kind of have to take the good ones and share them here.
Okay.
But I looked it up on YouTube, and the first 10 videos were all different conspiracy theories, and they were all like an hour long.
Oh shit.
So it's a lot.
So people are like invested in this
Yeah,
man.
and it's some like they were stealing memories from his cells. That was one of the titles. That one was fun.
Oh.
We're gonna go back a little bit though and like talk a little bit right before his death.
Okay.
Or well, this one's a little bit before. He claimed in 2008 that these vivid dreams and out of body experiences became a lot more frequent, and there'd be like stuff where he'd wake up in like a sleep paralysis almost and feel like he was levitating out of his bed. And some people, that's where like aliens conspiracy theories comes into this. But he claimed that he was shown something that led him to believe that there was like these dimensions. He was shown something that made him believe we were in some sort of like era of enlightenment, and that are on the brink of an era of enlightenment into this kind of super soldier stuff and into this like dimensional powers and stuff. He felt like the world was about to discover it and like on the brink of it, but he felt there was also groups of people trying to stop this, especially like the government or secret intelligent life forms living on Earth.
Okay.
So there's a lot. I'm just gonna keep saying it. I don't get in to some of them because they had some science, and I was like, this goes over my head. I don't know where I am. He felt it was his job to spread the word of this Renaissance and like educate people of his theories and stuff with like his beliefs. And also educate people about his experiences as a super soldier. So, as he was.
Educate people on my experiences as a super soldier.
But he, it gets to the point, though, that he texts his mom, if anything happens to me, look into it, investigate.
This is a note that we hit every time. It's like, if something happens to me, this person did it. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident.
I read it and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing.
Dude, I hate that concept because they're always right.
You want to know another great thing about that concept?
Would love to.
He dies within the week.
So somebody was just killing him. Like that, it wasn't just an accident. There's no way.
He died in his sleep on a sofa. He was a 39-year-old healthy man. So, in his sleep.
So he was killed.
He split up black vomit after he died.
What?
Just this black liquid spews out of him. The night was July 16th, 2016.
Okay.
And he was in the house of a lady named Monica Duvall. She was a sci-fi publisher, writer. Okay. He met at the conference he spoke at.
Okay.
So there also is some belief that they were in some kind of relationship.
Like romantic?
Yeah, some people believe it was a partnership, like a business partnership, and other people believe it was a romantic interest. We don't really know.
Gotcha.
Monica claims that Max was sick all day and that he had a fever and that he had thrown up like 2 liters of this black liquid throughout the day.
Ew.
Like it just kept coming up. But they have no proof of that. It's all from Monica, word of mouth. And his body wasn't sent back to the UK for 6 days.
Why?
All the postmortem, there was no original autopsy. They wrote it off. Like the death was natural causes.
That's bullshit.
And it was filed as inconclusive postmortem examination. Okay. I could not get that word out.
No, I got you.
His main branch of conspiracy theories were the super soldier ones. He believed they functioned out of underground labs that housed aliens, genetically engineered creatures, these genetically enhanced super soldiers, like some really big government conspiracy stuff. Like they're working out of labs that we don't even know exist. Okay. Deep underground stuff. Some people believe that he started finding out and telling too much information, and that the government feared they would get, like he was leading people to them, kind of thing. They didn't care if these conspiracy theories were out there, but now that he was trying to like make them really popular, so a lot of conspiracy theorists, attention to it. Yeah, a lot of conspiracy theorists really believe that the government just did him in.
The government is responsible for every bad thing.
Everything bad ever is because we have a government.
No, literally. Anarchy.
Yeah.
You seen V for Vendetta? Anarchy.
He was allegedly part of a group of 40 children who went through this super soldier training.
Okay.
He calls it like genetic traumatization, and as a fetus they like fracture your mind into these different modes, kind of thing. This is a very baseline.
No, yeah. I'm following.
Explanation.
It sounds like the beginning of A Brave New World. Do you remember where they conditioned the babies?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? And it
Mhm.
was like they would shock them if they interacted with certain things and like train them to take suppressants for like
Yes.
emotions. That's just what it reminded me of.
Their whole thing was like it was severe trauma to a fetus to like make your body fight a pain. So like the shocking, it would fracture their mind in a sense into these different personalities or modes that they could be triggered into. So like with those frequencies we were talking about earlier, hearing a frequency would switch your mode.
Oh, so like some sleeper agent shit.
Yeah.
Like you hear the code word and you're activated.
Kind of
Okay,
thing. They
gotcha.
like yeah.
I'm following now. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
This was so they could fight in other dimensions. Like you had a mode that was in a different existence almost. Like the different planes of existence, because your mind was fractured, you could access them through it.
Okay.
It was some quantum stuff.
No, I got you.
I don't like that's as much as I can explain.
I don't need the physics.
Yeah.
It would just not make sense to me. But like I think I get the concept.
It's really interesting to hear the science, and it's not. Some of it's like I just went phew way over my head.
Phew.
But it's still cool to listen to, and you can find some of them online. They'll be in the
BBC
Discord.
miniseries.
Yeah, they were clips of them in there, but you can find full of Max Spiers talking online. Highly recommend it.
Cool.
It was some cool stuff. The super soldiers are trained to fight an alien species or some sub-dimensional creature that's allegedly farming the human race on our own planet. That's what the government makes these super soldiers for. That's what Max said.
To defend
against something that's already on Earth farming humans. And the government is keeping the general public dumbed down about it because the government is under the control of the creatures. And so they're just not letting the public find out so they can just be farmed without knowing.
So multiple things just happened in my head. The first thing, the government is lizard people. You seen that shit? Like lizard people make up the government.
Yeah.
But like on top of that, what was it called? Wasn't there a thing like recently about the CIA like releasing information
about aliens?
About aliens that live on Earth and just look like us?
Yes.
Am I making that up or did that
actually
happen?
No, they released that. Like that was a thing. And there's big theories about that one. I was going to cover it on another episode, but the gist of it is that they're going to fake an alien attack to unite the world against this fake alien and then just control them even further with that. Like they're controlled by aliens and going to make fake aliens.
Whoa. This goes deeper than I thought it did.
It's a lot. It's a lot of layers. It's a lot of layers.
Okay.
But Max himself suffered from crippling anxiety to the point of like panic attacks that would last hours.
Oh, poor
which,
baby.
like makes sense if you're since 5, all you can think about is like these aliens that are farming us on Earth, and you're one of the only people that understand it, and you're the only one. So nobody believes you half the time. So like, I understand where some of it's coming from, the paranoia of it.
It's like psychosis.
Yeah,
at a certain point.
Intense. He had an accident in America, though, that broke his pelvis, and he was given an opiate pain relief, but he developed an opioid use disorder, and because of the
that's sad.
He couldn't get any more opiate pain relief because they diagnosed him with the opioid use disorder, so he turned to stuff like heroin as a substitute.
No.
But people still said he was like a good dude and a charismatic dude. Like he was addicted to it, but he got help.
Okay.
And he had some like issues where he relapsed, but at this point when he died, nobody like was thinking he was relapsing. He had gotten help.
Do we know if there was anything in his system?
There was no autopsy.
There was no autopsy, which means they're covering something up.
It was blamed on drugs and pneumonia.
But if
that's
no
what it was blamed
on, then why wasn't there an autopsy?
There was his friend Monica did buy the Turkish equivalent of Xanax at the store.
Okay.
And they believe he may have had some of that in his system, but there wasn't an autopsy right away.
Right, which is weird.
Which is just weird. And his body wasn't returned to anybody that could give that. It was delayed.
Yeah.
But also the doctor on call that like was the first one on site, pretty much said don't get the police involved. Like, it was just a death by drugs and pneumonia.
Which is fucked.
Like, no, the police never came to investigate. And that's
Right.
why there is no autopsy, because the doctor just wrote it off right then.
Right.
Which is crazy, because it definitely sounds like a government cover-up.
100%. I'm sold.
He had many friends in these conspiracy theory circles, so a lot of the conspiracy theories about his death branch from these people that he actually knew, because he was called, like, people would invite him to speak at these conferences.
Right.
And then these are the ones that, like, really believe the government are the one that drugged and killed Max. Like, even if it was drugs in his system, they believe that like, Max had been cleaning up.
Him.
It wasn't
Yeah.
him that wanted the drugs. And even if it was something like he had Xanax, it could have been laced or something. Like, there's a lot of theories about that he didn't use the drug. The only thing he could have been using the drugs for in their mind was the anxiety and paranoia. It wasn't an addiction anymore.
Yeah.
And that something went wrong and somebody did it on purpose.
Right.
Is like the theory from those circles.
Whack.
One friend even claims that when they were visiting Max in the weeks before his death, they were followed all over by 4 agents. They just said agents. And that they spotted government helicopters and alien spacecraft patrolling nearby.
What the fuck?
There's a video of Max with a camera pointing at this cargo helicopter, saying that is a government alien spacecraft.
But it's a cargo helicopter.
It looks like one, and what I would call one, but Max knew for some reason that was a specific kind of helicopter.
Okay.
And he films it like from his house. You can find the video. I watched it this morning.
That's spooky.
Yeah.
Like,
And
part of me just wants to say that that's
just a conspiracy theory, but
you're on drugs.
what if this man knew something?
But right, what if this man knew something that we don't? I'm
Yeah.
picking up what he's putting down.
Max is saying some stuff. He had a lot of
right.
science.
He
Said a
knew-
lot of words that I didn't know.
He knew a lot more than I did.
He's got some knowledge that I don't, and maybe he has the right one and I have the wrong one.
Right.
One of these agents, though, supposedly controlled Max, like said the right word, like knew the word and switched him, because the friend that was with him, a conspiracy theorist that's also popular online, his name was Alan. No. Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but it switched him into a different mode. His personality changed very suddenly, reportedly by this guy. That's all alleged
Right.
from word of mouth. And the friend believed that Max turned to drugs not only for, like, because of an opioid problem, but it was his subconscious mind trying to calm itself down enough to bring the modes together.
Okay.
So it was like he believed that after a switch, he would need these drugs to, like, keep himself grounded.
Yo.
So, like, after this kind of super hard switch by a random agent, like, freaking out, and the sudden personality changes was enough to, like, his mind needed something to, like, calm itself back down.
My first thought, though, was
But
that
that's a
was
terrible-
a kill switch.
Oh, no.
Like, my first thought was like, oh no, it activated it, and now Max is gonna go intentionally overdose or something, because that's what that mode is.
Yeah, like, that's kind of the belief, is that your mind subconsciously relies on these drugs.
Yeah.
After these kinds of switches caused by words or even frequencies. So Max would say sometimes you just got super agitated, a sudden personality switch, which sounds like a sudden, like, a sudden wave of addiction.
Wow.
So it's like, a sad part of it is giving a bad face to addiction.
Yeah.
Is writing off my addiction as something I need subconsciously, which is what addiction is, but they're explaining it as a
Right.
super soldier side effect and not just a human side effect.
Whack. I'm having a lot of feelings right now.
It's a lot, and I'm trying to get through it because I had a lot, and I know it's kind of long.
Yeah.
He tries to explain this in an interview. This interview is very hard to watch because Max is very obviously intoxicated in one of these modes, he calls it, or
Yeah.
high or something.
That's so
But
sad.
he's just like stumbling over words, even like passes out, and like is just so down. He falls asleep. They make him jump on the trampoline though in the background in the video, because they don't have any video of them talking. It's just the audio. So the background video at one point is just Max jumping on the trampoline. So it's just this 39-year-old dude jumping on a
trampoline.
The interview was with someone online called Alexander Bertowitz, can't say his last name.
Okay.
I watched his video and he said his name and I still can't remember it. But like I said, Max seemed super intoxicated and high, but he's trying to explain like these trauma attacks of someone trying to control him. And he feels like in this moment he is like someone's trying to get to him or a frequency's getting to him, and that's what he's blaming this on. But as he's being like, I'm under attack right now, and you're seeing me under attack right now, someone's trying to control me, he's also trying to explain how the controlling works. But realistically, he's probably high, and it's just a very hard to follow explanation. But it's on YouTube. You can watch the interview.
Okay.
It's an hour long.
Oh.
It's a lot, and he talks a lot of the science. But this man is, like, very much
Inebriated.
Something's wrong, and he's, like, a lot of people say high because he has the cotton throat.
Oh,
He is very dry. He can't talk. He's stumbling over words. He's, like, can't clear his throat.
Mm-hmm.
He's passing in and out of consciousness. He says he's very tired from being under these trauma attacks, and then his mind is, like, falling apart dimensionally.
Oh, shit.
And he's trying to explain that while, like, super high.
Not a good combo.
Another popular finger to point at is Monica, though. Some people believe she was hired by these agents.
Oh, shit.
That she wasn't really a sci-fi publisher.
I trusted her.
It's hard. I don't know. She was... We don't even know if she was the only person there.
Yo.
There's no police report because nobody went. Just a doctor went.
What
so
the
it's Monica's
fuck?
Word if who was there.
That's so messed up.
Like, it's hard to get an interview with her. BBC couldn't. They couldn't even contact her. There was a private investigation going on at the time that said they got in contact with her, but they still haven't released the paper from that investigation.
Yeah.
So if Monica did say something to them, we just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Another theory is that she was part of a group who wanted to stop the Era Enlightenment, like we talked about.
Right.
It's called the Fifth Column, is a name Max had given to it. I'm not sure where it comes from.
Okay.
But it was just something I heard him refer to it as. And the theory is that Monica knew how to force him into an overdose, like switch, like you said, a kill switch.
Like a kill switch.
And Monica knew how to do that, or was told by an agent how to do that, and lured him into the house to make it look like a just overdosing at a friend's house.
Right.
Which I hadn't even thought of the possibility of a kill switch while I was researching. I don't know how, because, like,
right.
frequencies. But I read that and I was like, nope. When Max's mom received Max's phone and laptop from Monica, they had been completely wiped.
Oh.
Almost completely wiped.
Oh, so she did something. So she just did something.
Max could have done this because a lot of the information is kept secret. Like, you have to be invited to a lot of these conferences, and you can't take videos of some of them. Some of them are online.
How do we get into this secret society?
BBC wasn't allowed in.
Yo.
BBC tried to get in, like, invited to one of the conferences, was not allowed in.
I want to know so desperately.
I want to go.
I want to
so
understand
bad.
so bad.
Look.
That's fucking crazy.
I'm
They don't
here
let
for
the
it.
BBC in.
They don't want to publicize. They want only people who are really serious and, like, believe this stuff. They didn't want someone just coming in to, like, be like, look at what these weird conspiracy theorists are doing. It's
Right.
like, no. They don't like the term conspiracy theorists. They think they're critical thinkers who just everyone isn't as smart enough to see what they see.
I'm not as smart enough to see what they see.
I want to be.
I want to understand so bad. This is a secret society.
Yeah.
Yo. It's like the Illuminati, but with science.
No.
Lizard people are controlling the government.
Yeah. I like...
Sorry.
That's what no, but
sometimes my brain just spits out random information.
But, like, this is one of those theories, is that they hired someone to kill him. And we revisit this one in a little bit. So this one kind of takes a turn. Like we said, he was exposing the fifth column in his eyes, but other conspiracy theorists online believe that he was accidentally exposing the devil himself, not some subdimensional creature, and that satanic cults killed him. This theory plays a lot on the black liquid that came out of him. that it was some sort of demonic possession that was happening.
I have so many feelings.
This theory also
What?
kind of blends with the Monica one, saying that Max was held in Poland against his will. Like, he went for the conference but got trapped there, and that he was held in by an electric fence or black magic.
Or black magic.
But
Just casually.
the electric fence one plays into Monica being part of these agents, but was working as
Pretending.
Yeah.
Like fronting.
a spy, pretty much.
But the satanic cults?
Yeah, and they were using black magic to keep him in Poland.
That was a sentence. Satanic cults are using black magic to keep me in Poland.
They were trying to deprogram him of these demonic forces he had come in contact with, and some of it said they were trying to brainwash him to forget that what he knew and that he was exposed to it accidentally when he was young.
That's fucking
By his
batshit, dude.
his explorations into UFOs and stuff turned into something it shouldn't, and he got on the wrong, not with the government, but in the wrong with Satan.
The devil. Whoa.
That was a fun one to read.
I
This is also going to come out of left field, but Max also believed that the Fourth Reich controlled the moon, and that...
What? What?
That there's a video of Max sitting on the sofa.
What?
Dude, I swear to God, I was watching the BBC miniseries. They're literally just going through the facts of his case. They're like, he died on his sofa in Warsaw, Poland. And then it cuts to Max sitting on the sofa. He's like, so we all know the Fourth Reich controls most of, if not all of the moon. And I was like, excuse me? I didn't know that. And also,
What?
we're just going through evidence right now. Why did BBC choose right then to cut that clip in? Because it goes right back into just listing off evidence. I just don't understand what Max was trying to tell me or what BBC was trying to tell me.
Why the moon?
Lizard people, I don't know.
Dude,
I didn't get invited to the conference. I would have known this stuff, but I didn't get my pamphlet in the mail.
Oh my god. Oh my
but
fucking god.
They believed he knew too much and that the Fourth Reich assassinated Max because of this.
Because they control the moon.
Because they really do just control the moon. Maybe Max hit every box.
No, literally.
The devil called the Fourth Reich. He was like, hey, we got to do something
we
about
gotta
this.
stop that. He knows about the moon, man. He knows about the moon.
He knows y'all are on the moon.
That's the title of this episode. He knows about the moon, man.
And like I said, there's so many more conspiracy theories about this. You could go through, there was stuff about, they were stealing his memories through his cells. There was stuff saying that
What the fuck?
there was a weird one that he was able to awaken these energies in people, and that's why he was so popular. And other conspiracy theorists really didn't like him because he was so popular, but they felt he didn't have enough credibility because he couldn't prove any of these superhuman abilities.
Right.
And they also felt that he stole a lot of information from other conspiracy theorists and reused it without giving credibility.
Yikes.
But there was also stuff that people couldn't explain, they are self-proclaimed out-of-body experiences, but a lot of people have sleep paralysis and stuff. It was why were his so specific from the age of 5?
Right.
It was just some weird stuff.
And kids don't usually lie about that kind of stuff.
They
unless
tell you
provoked.
what they dream.
Right.
And there was an interview with someone who had come out about UFOs in the UK government, was talking about it, and usually known for shutting those kind of conspiracy theories down. And
Okay.
he came on and talked about this case, saying this is just people grasping at nothing. This isn't real, and just goes off and off and just nobody asked you, buddy. You're really sounding guilty right now.
You're making it sound like you're trying to cover something up.
It was weird. And the stuff with his body, I do believe that the body was later examined with a better post-mortem one, but nothing came from it.
Right.
It was just...
at that point, it's too late.
Yeah. You don't know what's changed over time.
What was covered up.
Yeah. Stuff. And it was so weird that the police weren't contacted. He was 1,000 miles away from his home.
Right.
For just a conference and randomly dies in a house that may or may not have been only Monica, or there could have been other people in the house.
Right.
We don't know because the only one we've talked to is Monica.
And also,
who wiped the computers, maybe.
am I wrong, or is it he wasn't a citizen of Poland, right?
No,
the UK government should have gotten involved because he died outside of his country of origin.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So why didn't that happen?
They did give the body to the UK, but it was days
later.
So by the time...
So what happened in Poland?
The doctor in Poland had already said there's no reason to investigate. So
Right.
also, this was weird. The doctor came and they left his body overnight.
What?
No, his body wasn't taken that night. They left the scene
A rotting corpse.
in the house overnight.
And that's like, you're supposed to put bodies on ice
Yeah.
to keep them from,
Starting to decompose.
to
So stuff was changed and the
What
crime
the
scene was
fuck?
messed with because when they did
so
come
something happened. We just don't know what.
yes.
Like there's
Either
something
it was
weird.
a mishap and it was just poor.
There's
the
no such
system
thing
was
as a coincidence. There's no way that was just a mishap.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. These
Right.
conspiracy theorists know what's good.
The lizards. The Fourth Reich controls the moon.
I believe it. He said it, and just the look in his eyes, I knew he was telling the truth, so. No, but there's some really good clips and interviews with Max.
Mm-hmm.
He did not hide that he believed in this stuff.
Yeah.
He gave lectures. There's a lot of lectures online you can watch from him. People have done interviews with him. That was the third with Alexander. The third interview he had done.
Mm-hmm.
The other interviews he's a little more cohesive.
Okay.
That last one was just the
Falling off the deep end. Kinda.
noteworthy one. That was also posted 3 days after Max had died, which is just kind of insensitive.
That, and it's also like it's trying to, why would you release it after? Because it's like perpetuating the idea that maybe it was an overdose because, wow, look at this clip. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of feeling?
Well, but they felt it wasn't drugs involved with that. They believed that he was under some kind of subliminal attack of people
the
trying to
interview?
control him. Yeah, they're
Okay.
explaining it as controlling it. They even
Right.
The other guy
But
who
other
now
people think it was
refuses to
drugs,
talk
right?
about Max. People believe that he wasn't gonna post it, but when Max died, he posted this saying like Max has been under attack for a couple of days. Like trying to
now I
it
get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
perpetuates the conspiracy theories of it.
Fuck, dude. Whoa.
How I found this, I don't even know. It's an accident,
And
but
now?
a great story.
It's going to be fun because if you cover any of Max's conspiracy theories in later episodes,
I am
you
gonna
can-
do at least the superhuman one because the science behind it was just too
it's
cool.
Too cool. But like now you can cite back to, oh, by the way, if you want to know the conspiracy theory on his death, like go listen to episode 9.
Oh yeah, we can promo ourselves.
Well, that, but also it's like there's so much with this one guy.
No, it's a
like,
lot.
That's multiple episodes.
You
right
can
there.
see I like crossed a bunch out. I started delving into his conspiracy theories. There's just so much. He really fleshed out what he believed in, and he was also in these very complicated circles of people who believe the same stuff who fleshed it out just as much. Like I started going down holes and holes of stuff, and I was just like, this is too much. I don't want to do a disservice by trying to like explain it poorly here.
Yeah.
I want to save it to explain it better later.
when you have a full hour to
Yeah.
explain it. Yeah.
But Max's story was too cool not to cover.
What was it this morning when we were touching up our notes and we were sitting at the table? You said, "Oh, that's another weird hole." Like I'll explain it later. Like
Oh,
you
what
had
was
to
it?
stop yourself and be like, "That's another really weird turn that this case has taken."
One of them was like the devil one that
Oh,
just
okay.
came out of left field. There was a lot more alien stuff that I could, because Max was very involved in like the UFO community in the
Mm-hmm.
UK. There is a lot more alien stuff with it. I just at face value couldn't find a lot
Gotcha.
specifically pertaining to Max's story, but Max had a lot of cool theories about aliens that I started reading. Max is, even from the age he was 5, believed that the aliens were already on Earth. Like, that's what he said as a 5-year-old. And then later, like,
Yeah.
had premonitions of this stuff being true, like, way later in life.
Whack.
There's a lot of good interviews with his mom that, like, she supported him being a creative person. Is also one of the people to say, like, he did have drug issues, but had relapsed a couple of times, but, like, sought out help. And, like,
yeah.
she has a lot of really interesting interviews with BBC that I watched.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much
Yeah.
for such a, like, strange case.
I hate that.
There's so many questions, and every time you answer a question, you have five
You
more
have
questions.
5 more questions. The Fourth Reich controls the moon.
I wanted to drop that in as hard as BBC slapped that with me for you. Literally, I swear to God, they're just going through, like, information that you can't dispute. Where he died, when he died. Oh, by the way, Max said this. The Fourth Reich controlled the moon. His name. Like, what?
Right. Like, why? Why right there?
It was such a weird cut. And it's also just a huge slap in the face. Like, this is common knowledge. Everybody knows the Fourth Reich controls the moon.
That was interesting, dude. This is fucking whack as hell.
I've never seen such, like, a detailed conspiracy theory about a conspiracy theorist's death.
No,
Which happens a lot because they're in those circles. But
yeah.
this one had so much, like, weird stuff with his death.
What happened in Poland?
Why was he in Poland? Was it just the conference and was he stuck there?
Yeah.
Did he go there
Why was his body left for 24 hours?
There was a love interest in the UK that said that he had secretly called her and said, I'm trapped here. And that was, like, part of the electric fence theory, that he was being, like,
held against his will.
It was a trap. They said, come speak at this conference, but it was really the agents set up this conference to get him in Poland to kill him because he knew too much.
Holy shit.
And she's like,
I believe it.
It's her word of mouth. Again, a lot of it's word of mouth. But she says she called him, and he secretly called her and was like, no, I love you. I want to go back. I'm trapped.
I'm sold.
I'm sold on all of them is the problem.
No, literally, it was the devil. Like, the Fourth Reich does, in fact, control the moon. It was sleeper agents. Like, because there's no such thing as a coincidence.
His theories, I don't do it justice here, and that's what I was saying. Yeah. The super soldier stuff he gets into, like the underground labs, he could tell you where some of them were. He had names. He had codes that he had uncovered.
Hate that.
It was some crazy stuff.
But it's like there's no such thing as a coincidence.
A lot of people also, like, felt Monica tried to get him to see a quantum therapist. I didn't know that was a thing, but they use quantum physics for therapy. But it's like some tarot card dimensional stuff.
I want to know about that.
He was supposed to go, but died before he went. The man never met him.
Damn. So
I left it out because. No, but the guy sounds so cool. What is a quantum therapist? But Monica was either trying to get him to see this man for a good reason or a bad reason, if Monica is one of the bad guys.
Right.
We don't know. We don't know what this man was supposed to be doing. Was he supposed to be quantumly getting rid of his superhuman abilities? Is it a good thing that he had superhuman abilities? It's just too many questions.
And there's no, like, the fact that he told his mom, like, if something happens to me, like, look into it.
Within the week.
There's no such thing as a coincidence. Like, you have intuition to when something bad is going to happen. And some people are just able to warn.
She even said that he had had said to her, not texted, but before he left for Poland, said, I might be murdered. But that is word of mouth.
And then he dies.
And then he texts that, look into it, and then dies within the week.
Right. Like, no, he just was killed. It's just a matter of why.
And then there's too much mishaps with his body.
Right. And it was covered up.
Like, weird stuff.
Stuff like that, at that point, it's just a matter of, like, the motivation.
What was right.
How it actually happened, rather than if it was on purpose.
Why? Is it, like, what was he getting too close to? Was he getting too close to the super soldiers? Was he getting
aliens?
The aliens?
The lizard people control the government.
Was the Fourth Reich one right?
Do they control the moon?
Am I missing something? Like, he had so much cool information. Why am I not invited to the conferences? What did I do wrong in life to not be invited to the conferences?
The fact that the BBC wasn't allowed in is a lot for me. Like, that's a flex to turn away the fucking BBC.
But, like, I totally understand it. We don't want news people in here broadcasting it to the wrong crowd.
Right, because they're just going to advertise it as like, wow, look at these crazies.
Yeah.
Rather than they're on to something.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is my conspiracy theory about a conspiracy theorist.
Which is super sick.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
I don't know if I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I feel bad that he was definitely murdered.
Yeah.
Definitely by the government
by
or
aliens,
the devil.
Or the devil. Or the Fourth Reich.
Because they control the moon.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. That is Max.
Rest in peace, a legend.
Seemed like a cool dude. And from, like, our reports from, like, family members, friends, like other people he knew. A lot of people were good friends with him, even though he believed in the like crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a shut-in kind of conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, it wasn't like
he
a
was,
tinfoil hat kind of guy.
He was described as very charismatic by just friends that didn't believe in the same stuff. Like they didn't believe his conspiracy theories, but he was just a people person.
Yeah.
Which is strange. In some sense, a lot of times when you hear conspiracy theorists, you think of like the crazy person no one wants to talk to. But from all accounts, Max was like a people person.
Whack.
Yeah, he was just a strange case of conspiracy theorist.
Damn. Wow. I feel bad.
There's a lot of he has like ties to a lot of cool stuff that I'm sure we'll get into eventually on the podcast too. So stay tuned for some Max theories.
Damn. This episode gave me such like a bittersweet feeling. Like the stories were interesting because our stories are always interesting, but neither of them have like...
We both have like ones where the system kind of failed or covered up.
Right.
Or both.
Like it makes you think about
what else was covered up and we just didn't get enough wind of it.
Right.
What else failed but it didn't fail enough. Or
it didn't fail enough.
Yeah.
Is a good way to say it. Like, the ones we talked about, it's just so, like, it feels so glaringly obvious that, like, something was amiss. But
there's so many, I bet, that there wasn't enough amiss for us to ever catch wind of.
Right.
It'll be written off in history as a normal case.
Or an accident.
But it'll take one person to look at it in 50 years and be like, wait, they missed so much. But we just missed the one pin drop.
Right. You don't watch Criminal Minds, do you?
No.
There's a Criminal Minds episode, and that's what this makes me think of, where they work with the CIA, right? Because they're the FBI. They're working with the CIA in this episode, and it's a lot of headbutting because there's a lot of different protocols. And the whole thing is the behavioral analysis unit is, like, fighting for, like, the truth and, like, justice and all that stuff. And the episode ends with the CIA killing one of their own. And the episode ends with, like, his newspaper saying, oh, it was a car accident. And earlier in the episodes, they had implied, like, if a government agent dies mysteriously in an accident, it is never an accident. And, like, the fact that, I don't know, it's like even our media, to an extent, knows. Yeah. It's not. There's no such thing as a coincidence.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yo, we live in a simulation.
It was weird that it was weird that we both came to the table with, like, that similar thread. Yeah. Because that wasn't planned, people.
No, ma'am.
We don't talk about anything before the podcast.
It's so funny, too.
We talk about canes.
You can see us try, though, like, interacting with us is very funny right before we're about to record because we want desperately to talk about it.
We're, like, so ready to just spew information.
It's so hard to save it for the podcast.
It's so worth it, though.
But, like, even last night we were talking about...
And we just have to, like, dance around it. We're like, literally. Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory, but that's all I can say.
Yeah. But it's funny because now... Because, like, since we used to do this all the time, where we'd sit down and we'd trade stories back and forth of things we knew about. And obviously now we save them for the podcast. Now, literally, the only things we can trade are things we didn't have enough evidence to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, they just won't last 30, 40 minutes.
Like, even this morning I said I wanted to do it, but there's just not enough material on it yet, so I can talk to you about it.
Yeah, and I traded one right back.
Yeah.
But they will be shared eventually, so we can't go
We're
into
contemplating like doing a garbage disposal episode.
With, like, short stories that don't have enough evidence for us to sit here
for 45 minutes
and talk about, but they're still interesting. Like, yeah. we don't want to write them off just because they aren't long.
There's a man-eating crocodile in Egypt.
Spoiler alert. I wanted to find that out the hard way when I go to Egypt.
His name is Gustav.
A beautiful name.
He has a kill count of over 300. We talked about this last night.
I didn't hear that part.
I was telling Aaron about it. We were looking up pictures of Gustav.
I know. I saw the pictures and I was like, wow, he's cute.
Yeah, he's a man-eating crocodile. He's like over 18 feet long. And
I heard the length and
has a kill count, but no one has gotten close enough. He's covered in scars from people shooting at him.
Oh my gosh.
But no one can kill him.
That sounds like some Pop Tropica.
No,
boss.
Literally. We've set, people have set traps for him, and he just, like, takes the bait out and leaves it other places to, like, torment you.
That's so funny.
He's an asshole.
He's a lizard people that wasn't good enough for the government.
And now he's bitter.
He's too good for the government. He's the subdimensional creature. What are we talking about? Gustav controls all.
He's the thing from level 7 of the back rooms.
Oh no,
The
call
monster
back.
in the
Last
water.
episode.
Ooh, the back rooms.
But anyway, that's episode 9.
That was a pretty good episode.
I enjoyed this one a lot. I enjoyed both stories. I say enjoyed in a very
Right.
angry and frustrated with the government kind of way of enjoying it.
And the not San Francisco, whatever, the sheriff's department, Bill Gore, at him.
Email him angrily.
Dude, this episode was a lot.
It was a fun one though.
But now I just don't trust anything.
Yeah. It's part of it.
But it was good. I liked it. And next episode. This is episode 9. Next
Yes.
episode is double digits.
Is double digits and something fun's happening.
Something really fun is happening.
Also, we have plans for TikTok stuff too.
Yes.
So that's gonna start rolling out as well.
Dude,
so a
this
lot
is a
of
big
fun.
deal.
Episode 10. It's gonna be cool.
When we hit episode 10, we will have been airing for what, 2 months now?
Or yeah, because we did the first 3 at 1.
Right?
So
Am I
we're
wrong?
2 months old.
We're
Yay.
aging. Oh wait, no. Our first episode aired. Our first 3 episodes aired April 14th.
Is it 1 month old?
It's 1 month old.
Okay.
Exactly. Almost to the wait, what's the date? We are 1 month and 3 days old today.
Awesome. Why did we think 2?
Because 10 at once a week was how I thought of it, which
Yeah,
would be 10 weeks.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We aired the first 3 episodes at once. But like, oh, we're a month old. That's crazy. Holy shit. The concept is a little older. But
Yeah.
like, we've been airing for
That's what's throwing me for
Yeah.
a loop.
We've been airing for a month now, and we're about to hit double digits. And we have something really fun planned for our 10th episode.
Wouldn't it be 2 though? Am I delusional?
What?
It's 2 months.
No, because it's the...
We.
Hold on. Like, we posted the first day our first episode aired on Instagram. Hold on.
I guess because I'm counting to 10. Yeah.
Right, that's what I did, was I was like 10 episodes, 10 weeks.
But we haven't aired 9 or 10 or 8.
Oh, yes, because we have recorded in advance.
That's why we're off. Yeah.
So for
it
us,
is a month. Yeah.
Yes. Today it's a month. We are a month old, but by the time that these episodes air, we will be closer to 2 months.
Yeah. So
'Cause
this is wrong.
Yeah.
for anyone listening.
Episode 10 airs June 2nd.
I've never done that many like mental maths in my head trying to recount that. I was like, no way.
There's no way.
How does 10 fit into 4?
But we've only aired... right now, last week aired episode 7.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so it makes sense.
Yep. I got it now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still doing the math.
No, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still like, yeah, I guess that makes kind of sense.
I forgot how to count. Too
Oh,
many
I
conspiracy
never
theories.
learned how to count.
Oh,
I am a marketing major. I've taken 1 math class.
I just took my last calculus class.
That's exciting because you changed your major.
Yep, I would have had to take it for 2 more semesters.
Fuck that.
No more calc.
No more calc. Ugh.
But yeah, this is
Wow.
part of the episode where we say follow us on everything.
Oh, yeah. This is a part of the episode where we shamelessly plug for like a minute or 2.
Or 5.
We're 5. But seriously, like, it's going to be good. We have some special stuff in store now.
Yeah, we're a little bit more on track.
Yeah,
Gonna
episode 10.
replace my laptop.
Rest in peace, your laptop.
The pictures will come back.
The episode 10 is going to be really exciting. We have something, it's different. It's different than what we've done so far, so we're going to hype it up a little bit. Our social media is the best way to keep up with us because we are going to be doing some things that are going to be different in the upcoming weeks. So don't get blindsided when you open a podcast and it's not what you expected. You know, like follow us on social media so that you can keep up to date.
And know if we're doing stuff on other places.
That too.
'Cause
That too.
If you just hear, we did a TikTok last week, but you hear from a podcast that's recorded 3 weeks in advance, you're like way behind the time.
Right.
What's
Because
the
our
fun in
podcasts
that?
are recorded stupid in advance.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 weeks. So
Yeah, depending on the episode.
yeah. One of them, a couple of them have been done 2 nights before.
Yep.
I will say that. Guilty.
And
but
then some of them are 3 weeks in advance.
yeah, we're working on the schedule, all right?
It's just a little whack, y'all.
We got to work in between 2 colleges and
Yeah.
different family things and
3 different family things if you count Adam.
yep, who's
It's not just us.
that's what we have to do. Adam, what'd you draw?
What'd you draw, Adam?
What?
Oh, it's okay. So it's 2 little ghosts sitting in front of a microphone, which are us because we're 2 literal ghosts, and it says, "Shit is happening."
And it says M&M.
Oh, Eminem, episode 9 at the bottom.
Yay!
Adam, that's precious.
I love that. We should post his drawings.
We should.
For episode 9 out now, we post the
Here's
drawing.
Adam's drawing.
Because they should see it.
Yeah,
They should see it.
they should see it. We'll start doing that. That can be our Instagram story announcements
Oh, yes.
for when the episodes
And we have
come
to
out.
save the stories.
Yeah.
So people can go through the art.
That'd be cute.
Adam's art.
Okay, I'm down. I'm
There
down
we
to
go.
come.
You heard an idea be born. That's
Yeah,
some
literally.
behind-the-scenes stuff right there.
Behind the scenes, brother.
All right, well,
Good night.
good night.
Good night. And cut.